Well, it's time for everyone to try and regroup and refocus as we move into Game 5. Picks and bans are ready. Let's get this one started. Pittsburgh Knights have that first pick selection. And Taco, you pointed it out already. So far, first pick has won every game, if I'm not incorrect. But Knights rival, and now it's Knights here again.
Was it the same way yesterday with the Ding toss set?
I don't think so, because it went 2 dig, then 2 rival, then dig. So I don't think it went that exact same way. But it is here today, and we've been talking about it's because a second pick can feel so hamstrung sometimes into having to ban the Arthur, having to ban the Freya, and that gives first pick the option to do exactly this. They can ban stuff that's meta of the set dependent. Rival has to ban the global meta, but first pick gets to ban the stuff that's been working particularly in this set and force the other team to adjust.
But this is the Bologna ban that I wanted in game, what was it, 3,
Well,
I think?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I believe game 3, I wanted to see that Bologna ban as opposed to the Freya, and I knew that it would be a trade-off. Rivals bound to have come into this with the understanding that they were going to leave the Freya open as well, but Deathwalker just cannot be allowed to have this Bologna man. He has won every single game, and there have been 5 of them. When 5 is a low count, but in a competitive setting, it's really not.
Well, this is critical, right? Because banning King Arthur Freya has not worked for Rival twice in a row now, right? When they're in the second pick selection. So I think that I like the idea they're coming in and they're saying, well, we're going to try something different. Prove it. Prove you can win on this Freya pick. I don't believe she's made it through to be played at all yet at the SPL level. So we'll get a chance to see with the Knights if they can get this done. I imagine they'll be giving this over to Vote in the dual lane, and then they'll try and play through that. So if she's left alone to farm like we've been seeing, that could be scary.
But Freya is versatile enough, I think, that it could go for Zyrhoes or it could go for Vote. And I almost want to see it for Zyrhoes because
really?
I think that Zyrhoes has, aggro was right on the money. I think that Zyrhoes has had a relatively quiet set so far, largely because of the fact that he's been made the focus, I think, more often than not by Team Rival. They kind of just understand that if Zyrhoes is kept suppressed, then the rest of the match seems to be, or the map seems a lot easier to traverse for Rival whenever Zyrhoes doesn't have that same sort of mid lane presence. And Freya is a god that I think Zyrhoes could definitely build up a lot of bully potential.
Well, now they have the opportunity, right? Because if they do want to give this to Zyrhoes, they can pick the Xbalanque for themselves because Rival go Naja, Erlang, Shen here, Taco. And I think they're right. CaptainTwig plays so well on this Erlang pit that you definitely want him to have it. Naja is versatile. Take that away from going over to EmilZy and give yourself that aggressive pick. But now they're kind of calling the Knights' bluff. Either you play this Freya in the mid lane and take Xbalanque, or we can go Naja, Erlang, and swing back around and grab it for ourselves.
I'm kind of surprised at the lack of Bacchus as well.
Hasn't been a lot of Bacchus, you're right.
I think that a Bacchus would pose very well for either of these drafts right now. I know that so far Pittsburgh Knights only have that Freya in tow, but I think that Rival need to continue responding with these heavy CC-based gods. Naja, Erlang, going to have a lot of interrupt, I think, for the Freya. You just need a way to kind of isolate her. Naja definitely accomplishes that. I think Erlang can also accomplish that. Or at the very least, this Erlang, whether it's for Twig or Fineokay, possibly even Mike, I think that there's always the likelihood that they're going to be able to just look for that quick little turtle form knockup, and then you just got the easy setup for a Naja and maybe looking for, actually,
wow.
I think Rival should keep holding off on PandaCat's mid lane pick. I was going to say maybe Rival third pick their mid laner here because Pittsburgh Knights are going to solidify all their damage without worrying about the front line. But now, because Pittsburgh Knights went so heavy-handed on the damage, this is why I love seeing the Habwa now from Rival.
He should be able to blow up just about everyone that's been selected so far by the Knights. This is by Rival. So now the Habwa's full damage can come through. But the question is, how well can they play this Freya in the mid lane? Wait, it won't even just be that. They have Janus here as well. Taco, are we saying Freya maybe in the jungle now at this point? Or what? Where is all this stuff going? Because these picks and bans so far, man, in this whole set, they've been awesome. Can I just say that I've loved watching these two teams go back and forth in these picks and bans?
It's weird because you want to like pick apart their brains. I know it's different when you're able to watch it from the player booths, but that's information that I don't really want to share back on the desk because I know there's more games that are going to be played in the future. But the Bacchus ban out is super interesting to see though from Rival because Pittsburgh Knights haven't even alluded in the slightest to wanting this Bacchus. They have had numerous opportunities to take it for themselves, and yet both times or in every single game so far, Pittsburgh Knights has basically just skipped over Bacchus. So for Rival to ban it out here now, I think it's solely because of the fact that they want PandaCat to have as much freedom as possible with this Habwa.
Well, now the question for Rival becomes, how do you lock down this Pittsburgh Knight roster? Do you know exactly where everything's going to be going? And in this prep stage, you try and round out your draft. Jing makes sense. You definitely want a nice safe hunter with a strong late game for this Rival composition, one who can reposition if she is under siege. But has Rival been able to piece together the game plan yet of Pittsburgh Knights? They took this gamble by letting this Freya through. Now can they follow through on it by completing the rest of this phase?
But it's a little bit awkward from the Pittsburgh Knights' point of view, Finch, because they've got Freya, Xbalanque, and Janus, sure, but this is all kind of mid to late game power spikes for me. I think Freya is probably the only god right now for Pittsburgh Knights that can sort of hold her own in the early game, but that again is also going to be pretty dependent on where she goes, whether if it's for solo for Deathwalker
Could
possibly.
be solo too.
I guess the idea there is just give Deathwalker something that he can hyper farm with, but the Amaterasu being locked in, I think that's all EmilZy.
I think so too. And now these are both very strong picks. This gives them some of that early presence that they needed, some ability to fight with these drafts so far that's coming out from Rival, even with these, like you said, these mid-game monsters that they've selected. So I love what they've done here with these last two picks, but just is it going to be enough? Is this enough of a frontline presence when they're going up against Arkyll? Taco, I'm a strong. I just don't know if it's enough.
I think that Pittsburgh Knights have just such a dicey composition. Like, you are really just rolling the dice and praying that you get, double sevens or something. And I'm just not really sure how to feel about the Pittsburgh Knights draft either, because in comparison, I think it's such high execution that I don't think that Pittsburgh Knights are incapable of executing this composition, but more so the fact that Rival have so much damage that I'm not even sure Pittsburgh Knights are going to get the opportunity to try and string anything together here.
Okay, so now the hell comes through from Team Rival. They've got the sustain pretty substantially. Amaterasu has a little bit of that, but certainly that's going to be favoring Team Rival. They've got plenty of burst. Naja's locked down for them, so is the Erlang Shen Taco. I mean, were you expecting the hell to come through? I mean, whose draft are you liking better?
I definitely like the Rival team draft
It's
significantly better. It's not even fair, in my opinion, seeing the Rival draft, but Pittsburgh Knights are such a good team that there's a reason why it's hard for me to make a decision.
Well, let's see where all these picks are going, where are they all going to end up, and how well this hell can do in the SPL. Game number 5, Pittsburgh Knights and Rival. Tom and Aggro take it over.
You know, he said that aggression and creativity, all that stuff is going to make Rival win. Stop that. Hell, Hebo, Naja. I mean, this is, on paper, what Rival need to win.
I just don't. I'm so confused as to why Pittsburgh Knights pick Freya, Xbalanque, and Janus as their top 3. If they go Freya, Xbalanque, I understand that. I don't think there's any way that Rival ends up banning away the Janus from them. And I think they could have really thrown Rival for a loop here. Seeing those 3 as your top 3, I think made Rival have a lot more understanding of where this game was going to go, which was in a weird direction that not a lot of people would normally be used to.
Yeah, that's certainly true. And as we look at Team Rival and Pittsburgh Knights, get ready for Game 5. I'm curious as to where everything will lie. All right, Fineokay on the Hell solo. I like that much better than the Hell support. I think it allows her to build the way that she needs to build. Agreed. And I will say this first and foremost, we see him building into tank. I need some power.
Yes.
Full tank Hell is not the way to do it.
I agree, and I think that I'm surprised at the Guardian's Blessing. I think that a Mage's Blessing would have been good, but overall, I think this is the right idea. You don't want to have Deathwalker be able to sit in lane and farm really efficiently and not have someone equally strong in the late game to worry about.
Team Rival, I think PolarBearMike and Fino were hidden in this back camp buff, this back camp crevice. So it looked like a 2-on-2. It was revealed that it's a 4-on-4. And as soon as they're able to see that top card, they go directly to the other. All right, we don't want it. See you later. No thanks. 4-on-2, not our game.
Now, Adapting is going to have to be the one that I think needs to be the most careful in this game, because he's the only carry on either side without Purification beads. Fineokay beads, Deathwalker beads. These are very defensive options. Both teams probably sitting there looking at their draft and going, oh, well, they can't let us get to late game. We'll insta-win. There's no way we lose a late game team fight. But both teams are going to feel that way. I'm interested to see how well Pittsburgh Knights can build anti-heal. They don't have a ton of it.
Sure.
Obviously, Serqet's Last Breath is going to do a lot of that for you, but Zyrhoes not particularly good at applying anti-heal. Deathwalker can do pretty well, though.
What I like most about this rival composition is how balanced it is. I think they are absolutely saying, wait till wait till we get to the late game, but also check out my Naja. Like, Naja is going to run that early to mid game. So I think there's a lot of options here for Team Rival to kind of bridge the gap. Whereas Pittsburgh Knights, I mean, really, they're kind of just floating around for the majority of the early game, for the majority of the mid game, right? So it's an interesting look here from Team Rival for sure.
I'd love to see a Witchblade from PolarBearMike, Midgardian Mail. I think EmilZy should absolutely get a Shogun's Kasari this game.
Yep.
You need attack speed buffs if you're on Knights and debuffs if you're on Rival.
So how real is it? How real is the oops, we forgot thing? Because people say that, but these are professional players. Hell does a ton of damage. Is Deathwalker going to forget how much damage he does?
I don't think so. I mean, Deathwalker's played a lot of Hell. Remember, he had a lot last year where he was playing quite a bit of it. I don't think he'll be surprised.
Well, there's some hell damage, and CaptainTwig's going to show up as well. Bead's already done. Knockup is good. Couple of basics will confirm it, but there's all these minions. There's the explosion! And Fineokay with the hell selection, the first to ding one up.
And Deathwalker now without purification beads means that he's going to continue to be vulnerable in this exact situation. EmilZy there, it's been a 2-on-1 this entire laning phase, and EmilZy's there really to handhold with Deathwalker and make sure that things like that don't happen to him.
You know, it's interesting. 4 beads on the side of Team Rival, and there's really not that much crowd control. Vote's going to slow you, sure. EmilZy has to expend the ultimate, unless you're looking to beads away silence. Zyrhoes has to use the portal offensively, which is always a question mark. Adapting's got it. And DW has the banish, right? So it's, especially with the fact that Hellas has access to the cleanse herself, it's a lot of beads for this situation.
So in situations like this, I kind of think of it like a Magi's cloak.
Okay.
Where, yes, you're right, there isn't a lot of guaranteed CC, but that means that your bead should always be up. You should always have it for the important CCs, like
Banish.
the Ama ult, or like adapting, jumping on you, or banish. You have that opportunity to hold on to them a lot longer.
Right.
Whereas, I agree with you, it's not a CC-heavy team, but the beads are going to be very helpful.
Adapting and PolarBearMike trying to deal it on out, but Adapting can jump over walls, so Mike will walk away. After, by the way, dealing 3/4 of Adapting's life bar.
Yeah, Mike is still pretty far behind, though. He hasn't been soaking lane XP anywhere, really. He's been going around and kind of playing jungle, too.
Yeah.
And in these situations, with this start, I'm curious on if Guardian's Blessing is really the right call. Because I think if Mike just has another Assassin's Blessing, he can contest much better and really be jungle too. At this point, he's going to be, he's almost, 15 stacks in or so?
Sure.
Whereas EmilZy's nearly done with his Guardian's Blessing. So you end up on you end up losing a lot of effective gold per minute. That being said, missing out on, for 3 minutes of your Guardian's Blessing being complete, and then having it for the next 33 minutes means you're still gaining a lot of gold throughout the rest of the game. I just don't know if that is the most efficient route. And if this meta continues with the changes coming in the next update, I think that we might see an adjustment there on Guardian's Blessing, maybe even going Boots 2, something aggressive. But you don't have to go up Blessing. You buy Boots 2 and then buy Guardian's Blessing when you're ready to lane. You can do something like that if you want.
Mike's a homework guy, though. There are a lot of players that feel it out. There are a lot of players that do their homework. Rival and the guys almost make fun of Mike's spreadsheets and his numbers dive in. So I bet he's done the math looking at minutes wasted versus stacks gotten. That's not something I would think that he has left a chance.
I just don't know if he's had the time to dive into this. I mean, this is a meta that's kind of developed pretty quickly. So I think that, as I mentioned, if it continues, which I'm not convinced that it will, we might see a change up.
And make no bones about it, I agree with you for sure. I think it's interesting your Assassin's Blessing assertion. I wasn't even thinking of a secondary Assassin's Blessing, just almost anything but the Guardians. But the Assassin's Blessing, I think, is an interesting look, mainly because it also gives movement speed.
Right, well, it's dependent on what you want to do with your time. If you're just there to harass them and annoy them and not actually clear the camps, Assassin's Blessing isn't the call for you. I think that situation boots 2 so that you have the extra movement speed, a little bit of power, and then you can back and buy your Guardian's Blessing when you're ready. Ends up working out a little bit better in those instances. If you're trying to just kill them outright, Mage's Blessing probably does more for you. There's lots of options. That's what Blessings are for.
Fight on the right-hand side, thinking about it. There's Adapting going in, but the whoop was going to be missed. That said, the jump away from Adapting is strong. Deathwalker in the sky, and much ado about nothing thanks to some portals from Janus.
PBM's ult still being down makes that a great fight for Pittsburgh Knights because, as I mentioned, Adapting's going to be one of the most vulnerable to PBM's Sash and ult combo, and Adapting still nearly ended up falling because of a good ultimate from PandaCat. But without that ult, it's not nearly as scary.
Deathwalker grabbed up, and he's going to use the beads to get out of it. Fineokay with a little bit of help, but nothing yet to just dig into. Tie game, 7 minutes in.
Early shell for PBM is the call. No blink or anything like that. It looks like he may have upgraded that actually as well. Not as good against this iteration of Freya as it was against the most recent, but Sash and ult still will get the job done.
It's going to bring Deathwalker down to a nice spot where PolarBearMike can get it with a ring toss. Easy play there. Fineokay now trying to heal up and deal out. EmilZy able to walk away, but PolarBearMike and Fineokay combine to get their second kill, the only 2 game kills of our game so far.
Mike played the aggressive Fenrir last game. It ends up being first banned by Pittsburgh Knights coming to this one, and for good reason. And I think that sticking him on another aggressive assassin support is the right idea for Team Rival. Clearly, Pittsburgh Knights had a little bit of trouble with that. Zyrhoes had some trouble getting away from him. That was really more pick dependent, but why not give it another shot with the same style?
I like Fineokay's decision to stay in lane here. Not only does he have the blue buff, but also access to the MP5 from Totem of Coup. And that should allow, with Hell's passive, he can kind of stay here. Might want to back. Yeah, now he's going to back after he finishes that wave, but not something that he would have been able to do without that totem. So they get their first totem of the game, and they immediately make a play off of it. As small of a play as it is, that's what the solo lane is about.
I love this Genji's guard pickup that he just went for as well, because it's magical protection, which you obviously want in lane against the Freya, but it's a ton of MP5, it gives you CDR, and that passive is great to make sure that you're going to be able to get all of your abilities off multiple times.
So PandaCat. EmilZy looking to be aggro with the ultimate, not going to find it. Zyrhoes just fires off the ult, PandaCat kind of jumps in place.
Well, that's good. I love that ultimate from Zyrhoes, because if Adapting hits that Blink Cobra's Kiss, PandaCat's dead, 100%. He had no purification beads. Unfortunately, when you use it that way, Pittsburgh Knights now at the disadvantage.
Well, the ultimate's here, and Team Rival able to get the gold here, no problem. Twig silenced out the dash forward from the Xbalanque, not good enough, and PandaCat hits one with the ultimate, kills the other with a knockup, lines up Arkyll for the 4th kill of the team. Adapting to get stunned out as well. He could just be kill number 5, and he will be. Hell shows up from the right side lane, and once again, PandaCat's Hebo, man. Woo!
Something that you said at the very beginning of this set, where I was saying that I think that the Knights might have a bit of an advantage over what Dig had going up against Rival, because they've seen what Rival does. They've seen the way they like to play the map, and that is an advantage. And I still think that's the case. However, I think that your point of, well, now Rival's warm, they've gotten something under their belt, they understand how they want to play, is coming into a much bigger factor than the point that I was bringing. Because Rival clearly has started to understand, okay, this is what we want to do. This is where we're having success.
Yeah.
And even if that isn't going to be their goal long term, I think that having those games under their belt and the ability to adjust on the fly and understand why they're winning, it has been invaluable.
And when you put minds like PolarBearMike, Fineokay, and CaptainTwig together, I think this is what you've got to expect. I think these guys, and shout out to Slaney as well, as I've said a number of times this set, I think that there's a lot of thinkers on this team, and you wind up like this. And PandaCat much more of a feeler. 5 games in, Hebo is a feel character, and he's got it right now.
Deathwalker in a bit of trouble. He has purification beads, and he might need them. Instead, he'll opt for Valkyrie's Discretion, an equally valuable tool in order to keep Freya alive. And that's that Genji's guard, man. Deathwalker just doesn't have the damage yet.
Yeah.
And with him going into a Genji's guard of his own, it looks like, or maybe that could be Shogun's to give himself some attack speed. That is what it's going to be. I don't mind that, but he needs damage.
I don't like the idea of defense,
Whoa.
Freya. There's trouble as CaptainTwig is very low, and the damage on a PandaCat not as high as he'd like against the support EmilZy. PandaCat picked the wrong target, but still finds it anyway, thanks to help from his friends, and PolarBearMike gonna send Zyrhoes directly to his teammate.
No. Do not take that portal, Zyrhoes. An easy 3 kills for Rival. Well, they make it look easy at least. A great ultimate from PolarBearMike. But remember, Pittsburgh Knights did seal away that Pyromancer thanks to a great play from Zyrhoes, who really came tearing through that wall, but
I don't care
it's just
about
the
Pyromancer.
Exactly.
It's rough. You know, it's I think in fairness call it a cliche. They make it look easy, right? But it's funny. I think that is one of the most accurate times, because that was an extremely difficult fight.
Yep.
Filled with high execution plays that Rival, I mean, they made it look easy, but that was very, very difficult. From the ending of Mike's ultimate to the answer of Fineokay to the very beginning with PandaCat, like that was a very hard fight to win.
Fineokay's all out of mana, completely He's going to have to use the purification beads to prevent the stun coming from EmilZy's dazzling offensive, but that should be enough to get them out of danger, even with adapting lurking. No blink for the Pittsburgh Knights jungler.
So here with Fineokay, I said I need to see some power. Full tank hell isn't the way to go, as adapting is stuck, but able to jump over the wall.
Good idea.
Fineokay can build hybrid. I don't know if I love hybrid Freya.
It's better now than it was on the last iteration of Freya.
Sure.
Because you get more base damage from multiple shots of the one than you did off the big burst of the one on the previous iteration. So in that sense, I think it can work. I think that it only takes 1 or 2 power items for Freya to really start doing silly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so Deathwalker can go for a Celestial Legion helm here and then into a Demonic Grip, and he might be okay. I don't disagree with you, but I think it's just because I think he's forced into this build style because of Fineokay's hell and how aggressive he can play it in this lane and how he can just walk at Deathwalker and know that he'll out-trade him in the end because of the healing. That puts Deathwalker in a bad spot. He can't afford to be taking full hell damage no matter what. So that forces him into the Shoguns. At least he converts it into some attack speed at the same time.
That's fair. EmilZy in some trouble. And here comes the wraparound from CaptainTwig. Going to meet up with the support player. Not going to find it just yet.
Primal Fury about to spawn. And Rival's in a pretty good spot, but look at this.
And this is a vintage play from Pittsburgh Knights. I know they're new to the league, but if you look at these players, this is what they do.
Do they have the damage, though, Tom?
I don't know.
This is making me a little nervous.
Yeah.
Deathwalker's going to get pretty low.
Oh, no.
And they give it up.
I like the idea, but they need a Freya damage build, honestly.
Yeah, they do. They do. I wonder what tipped off Rival, though. That must have just been instincts, because they were all on that Primal Fury, and then immediately all retreat, and there were no wards. Zero's going to bring the entirety of Pittsburgh straight to him.
Well, he does dink PandaCat there, but not the objective. PandaCat dinks adapting! Where did he go? The Janus walks out the left side lane. Now CaptainTwig and Panda very low. Fire Giant did more damage there than the Pittsburgh Knights, I think.
Holy.
Just see you later.
Yo, can we is adapting still like on this planet? Can we like look at the player cam? I'm worried about him, Tom. Okay, there he is. Whew.
He's okay.
He got crushed so hard, I thought he may have actually just ceased to exist in the physical realm. My goodness. Hey, Habwa's pretty good at that.
Yup.
Do you think Trifecta, they're sitting here in studio, they're watching, they play against SK next, and they're going, you don't think Paul would do that? They wouldn't. He wouldn't pick. You know Paul is watching this and going, that's all right, but I could do it better.
Oh, absolutely.
He's begging to get a Hebo pick.
Well, he's going to be silenced. Oh, PandaCat, you have no ultimate.
That's PandaCat.
That's the wrong play. But as you said, that's PandaCat. That said, lining up his team. 1 kill already. PolarBearMike with the superlative. Now CaptainTwig tanking the tower. The tier 1 will be good enough. Fineokay on the chase, shoving Zyrhoes out of the way. Rebel.
As I said, this Pittsburgh Knights draft just doesn't build anti-heal particularly well. It's a Pestilence for EmilZy, and that's it so far. I think adapting, it feels really bad to have to go Brawlers on Serqet when your ultimate, a big part of your ultimate kit is then made less impactful, but they need anti-heal desperately.
Objective again started here.
Perfect.
Nice disengage.
They got 2 ults for that. They got Zyrhoes and Vote to fire off their global ultimates, and then they go right back to the objective.
Only 2,000 gold in the lead, despite the 9-kill differential between these two teams. Primal Fury, I feel like this is the ideal time for a Primal Fury.
Yes.
For you're up 2,000. It's not really a huge. It's not going to shove you into the stratosphere as far as your lead is concerned. But it's just a chore. And as you pick up stacks of those, it'll just make your life easier later on.
Definitely. It makes a huge difference. Even just one stack does end up making a pretty big difference for you. And don't forget, it'll work on this Pyromancer as well. It makes it a little bit easier for you to take down.
I think Primal Fury is I don't want to say undervalued, but should be a priority more often, especially when you have a little bit of a lead. Because come fight us, sure, if you want, but as soon as this spawns, I want to get it so that we can do other things across the map. Hero's in some trouble.
Yeah, he's in some trouble. He's got to use beads. CaptainTwig just played that fight very, very well. Made Zyrhoes respect him enough that he had to portal, but then use that Mink form, which a lot of players seem to really prefer turtle form. And I don't know, Mink is nuts. It still has a built-in Fatalis, by the way.
Yeah, remember haste?
Yeah, it's a good thing to have. It also does a lot of damage.
Yeah, look at that.
310 plus 85%.
85% scaling. That's pretty absurd.
Is that good?
It's pretty absurd. He's got at least 50 power from the green sword.
It's not too bad. He's doing pretty well for himself so far this game. Look at the player damage numbers, by the way.
Yeah.
4 members of Rival all grouped to the top. And then it's Arkyll, and he's only below 2 members of Pittsburgh Knights. But Rival really just running it down and making it look like the right thing to do.
I mean, it's 10 to 1. I think the kill count has a lot to do with the differential in player damage. As we said, should this game get to the late game in Deathwalker, we were saying this earlier. The late game, oh my goodness, Deathwalker isn't building the scary late game Freya that kills you in a couple of bubblegum balls.
No, the Jade Emperor's not my favorite item for him to build in this position.
Team Rival on the right-hand side looking for the siege. The ultimate comes out of the Hunter, but it do not matter. Arkyll kills you with the lights on or the lights off. 11 to 1. Team Rival looking at a tier 2 tower sub 20 minutes.
And they're getting that tier 2 tower sub 20 minutes. It's the healing, Tom.
It is.
All this damage is completely negated so far. 9k healing. That's if you take Deathwalker and EmilZy, your second and third highest, and put them together.
If you put
still below it.
Deathwalker, Vote, and Adapting together, you have about the amount of healing that Fineokay has done in this game. Adapting's going to get taunted out, jumps away. CaptainTwig does suffer some damage, but here's, the rest of the team. PandaCat puts a dot on that one. 12
Zyrhoes.
in total for Team Rival, and this is disgusting.
I feel for you, Zyrhoes. That's you hate to see those moments where you step up to try and save your jungler and you end up getting killed for it.
I like Zyrhoes' look on the camera, just like, oh.
Deathwalker's coming around the back here. Fire Giant's getting low, but Rival's got it, and they've got kills coming their way too.
EmilZy taken to the sky, and very quickly he'll be put underneath the ground. 3-0-10 for the solo laner. 1-0-6 for the jungler. 4-0-7 for the support. 2-0-6 for the carry. Only 1 death, and that's on PandaCat, who is playing the Hebo.
He kind of hinted
top of the player damage, and yeah, it was
optimistic. That's the word I would use.
That is a good word. PolarBearMike bringing out the crits for sure, and the mid lane Phoenix just being looked at. Oof.
The CC, man, the double knockups that are available here to Rival.
The double knockups are scary.
Mike's sashes have been on point. This is getting ugly.
Adapting finds his way to the back line, but doesn't do anything. CaptainTwig follows up off of the damage from the Hobwa and gets the kill. Long range portal gets EmilZy out of danger. But Deathwalker doesn't have access to the portal. And Team Rival, they do have to back up and heal up, but oh right, they have a hell.
They have a hell.
They don't have to back up. They can both heal and aggress.
That is the case, and looks like Fineokay is doing all right in the mana department for at least a little bit longer. 12k healing now for the solo laner.
Aggression and creativity. Team Rival bring out a character we haven't seen for over a year and give their mid laner a Hebo. And because of that, they find themselves 10,000 gold up, 13 kills above their single kill opponent at 21-21, by the way.
And they're playing the Pittsburgh Knights, by the way.
Yes, the almost inarguable #1 team on paper from what we've seen out of the fans. By the way, we take a poll at the beginning for the fans in chat. 65% of folks at home thought the Pittsburgh Knights would take this. Only 35 are on the side of Team Rival. Now, it ain't over. This is the 5th game, and Pittsburgh Knights can absolutely come from behind. But it'll be tough.
This is everything that you wanted if you're a Rival fan. It's PandaCat shows that he's got picks that you really have to respect, and he plays very well throughout the entire set. Fineokay looks like he might be the best player in the game, like in this current game that's loaded in.
Yeah.
And that's really scary when you look at everyone else on the rosters. I mean, Mike's playing really, really well. Arkyll is looking better today. Twig is playing better. I mean, everyone is just moving together much more efficiently than they were yesterday.
And again, I maintain, I've been saying this for 2 years now, that you can't just follow the meta. You have to create your own game. I think now so even more so, right? And Fineokay, his 2 best games have been on a Serqet solo and a Hell solo. What is going on here?
Yeah, but he also played the Terra very well in game 1. Yeah. He played the Achilles last game and was lights out on it.
No, that's
the thing. It's not like you can just you can't just not ban away the meta gods from him because he won't play them. Because he will, and he'll beat you with those 2.
Left side Phoenix Siege coming out from Team Rival.
You know who he reminds me of? A young Deathwalker.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely going to say the same thing. You brought up PandaCat, multiple picks, 9 games, 8 different mages as Arkyll picks off the support. Also oddball picks, so like you got to prepare for Team Rival differently. Pittsburgh Knights look completely unprepared for what they're facing here in game number 5. The left side bird crumbles.
Only the right side Phoenix stands, and I was asking for more from Zyrhoes coming into this game, and for what it's worth, I think this is probably his 2nd best game of the set. The first, unfortunately, being the one that we lost to spectator issues. He played very well in that game on this same Janus selection.
He really did.
Those are the games that Zyrhoes has looked the most impactful so far.
Right side Phoenix is going to go to Rival. No contest. Vote doesn't want to walk up. Zyrhoes and Deathwalker a little shy as well. Adapting, doing the right thing, and just farming. He's level 16. He can't really do anything in this team fight. Get some levels. Team Rival on the retreat. Adapting, could find a cheeky little taunt here. There it is, a blink over the wall, and he's going to zigzag on out. Damage onto Fino. That's a nice look, because that is the healer. Deathwalker low. Nobody has the range until PandaCat blinks. But what happened? He didn't have the cooldown.
He auto-attacked by accident instead of using the ability. Unfortunate there for PandaCat.
Instant cast!
Miss me with that.
Instant cast!
They get the right Phoenix, and they're probably still healthy enough where they might be able to just go right for mid as it respawns.
Well, here's the ultimate out of Pittsburgh Knights. They're going to look for the attack on the retreat. PolarBearMike surrounded. This is the play for Pittsburgh Knights. PandaCat hits the world with the ultimate. Fineokay gets one, and the other teammate gets the other. CaptainTwig picks up EmilZy. 2 players to play defense, and 1 is level 16.
Man, Mike just big-brained Pittsburgh Knights. If I whiff the ultimate and then get a huge mantle of Discord stun, it means that PandaCat gets to come in and clean up. What a performance from Rival in Game 5, and they win their first set of Season 6.
Fantastic play at Rival right here. This is what I like about this look, is that sometimes when you see teams win that Game 5, it's a sigh of relief. That wasn't relief. That was, yup, we won, and we're happy.
Yeah, they definitely are feeling good, as they should, after a really tough set. And I think in a lot of ways, this is a better team-building exercise than stomping even a team like the Pittsburgh Knights 3-0. You know,
absolutely.
If you get to really face adversity and battle up against one of the best teams in the league and come out with a 5-game win in that set, then I think that bodes very, very well for the Rival in the future.
I mean, again, this was a team that did not, they had a bye in week number 1. They're searching for what makes them them. Who are they as a team? I think they found out today. I think they figured out how they need to win. They figured out what needs to go on, and they bring home the victory against one of the strongest teams around.
Impressive. And if you aren't excited about what Rival's going to do in the rest of Season 6, then I don't know what you were watching, because I think that we're going to get some weird picks and some really good games out of this squad.
This is absolutely what I signed up for. All 5 games, Rival take the set. Let's take a bigger look at it with Finch and Taco.
Hard to believe the SPL could be any more interesting than what we're getting right now, any more exciting. It's been awesome throughout these first 2 weeks. Rival grabbed that win in 5 games. And for me, the identity of this team has become this picks and ban phase that they do so well now, Taco. They're able to adapt on the fly. They're able to force you into bad situations. And for me, I think they won this game in picks and bans.
It was entirely won in the drafting stage. I'm not really sure what was going through the minds of Pittsburgh Knights, but locking in Freya, Xbalanque, and Janus just made it way too easy for PandaCat to look for the Habwa there. I think that if it had been an Amaterasu, well,
Amaterasu.
we're going to work on that guy name for a second here. Amaterasu, or if it had been even a Fafnir, a Terra, literally anything else except for the Janus.
Fafnir could have been great there, yeah.
I'm not really sure. I guess Pittsburgh Knights, Zyrhoes was feeling confident because he did have a really strong performance on this Janus in Game 3, but was just unable to repeat it. There was just little to no lockdown available for Pittsburgh Knights ever. Rival just had full control of this match. The second that the clock game timer even started counting down, I don't even want to say from the 0-second mark and onwards, because they were just so vastly in control. It just wasn't even close.
Yeah, you even saw PandaCat hitting them with the taunts earlier on, so this is clearly a confident team once they're able to get some wins in. But you're right, they had pressure in this game from minute 1. First Blood even went over to Fineokay on the Hell to make matters even worse. He was able to do too much healing, and then even once they were in game, things seemed a bit confusing, at least to me, right? Deathwalker went this sort of tanky-ish build on the Freya. As you can see what it means to Rival. Clearly they're pumped up there on the screen. But Deathwalker goes to this tanky build, and adapting kind of goes tank boots too. I wasn't clear where their damage is going to come from.
That was also what I found to be incredibly weird, though, because I just don't understand why put the Freya into the solo lane, because the whole purpose behind getting Freya to begin with is so you have that massive amount of damage that she provides. But Rival never even had to be the slightest bit concerned about that, because Deathwalker was going a hybrid-based build that was way more on the defensive spectrum as opposed to the offensive, because they were getting farmed early game, since there was really no one to limit what Rival were doing as far as map control was concerned, or as far as just their burst damage as a whole. They also had so much sustain coming through off of that Hell pick selection.
Right.
I think Fineokay did an excellent job there working the Hell, and he also kind of gave Deathwalker a taste of his own medicine, I think, because Deathwalker's not foreign to the Hell solo lane picks himself. So I think that it was all just really well played, and it seems as though Adapting's going to have to find his easy 3-0 elsewhere.
Yeah, and not just that. Not only did they, unfortunately, get jinxed there, but maybe Freya's not as good as we thought. She's now at a 0% win rate, Taco. 100% loss for Freya. She's probably fine. Just let her through now. Taco can't handle it. I punched her on the desk.
Throw this desk over,
I
man.
made it happen. You can now. Taco can absolutely throw this desk. But obviously, Freya's still very strong. But I like the idea that Rival were willing to mess around with those picks and bans, and that role that you're pushed into so often a second pick to finally overcome it and grab that win.
Rival have definitely got to be feeling good about this one, too. Getting an early set win. Sure, they might have fallen short up against Dignitas, but both of the sets that they played so far have gone the whole 9 yards. 5 matches. So Rival, if you want to beat them, it's not going to come easy.
Absolutely not. It's so close up at the top right now of the SPL, and I really, really want to hear from the guys themselves. We got PBM and Twig standing by for the interview.
Congratulations on your victory, PolarBearMike and CaptainTwig here from Team Rival. First and foremost, you guys had a bye in the first week. Was that, we had speculated, were you guys happy about that? Was that good or bad for the team?
I thought it was good because when we were scrimming, we were all on mixed ping. So we would, like, every game, one of him and Max would be on bad ping, and then one of me and Kenny would be on bad ping. So I felt like having, like, a week and a half, 2 weeks to, like, all play, like, normal ping together was really helpful.
What do you think was the biggest change for you guys towards the later end of the set? Because through the first 3 games, they were either pretty close or the Pittsburgh Knights won them pretty quickly. Games 4 and 5, you guys played lights out. What was the adjustment you guys made?
I don't want to explain too much in order to not to leak strats, but basically it came down to which risk we took during the pick and ban phase, and it looks like we took the right risks in order to win the pick and ban phases in the later stages.
Aggro and I spent a lot of time on the broadcast talking about your team identity, and some teams are defensive, some teams are offensive or whatnot, and it looked like you guys really found your stride, and this set kind of made a mark on who Rival is. So I'll ask you the question straight up. Who is Rival and what's your play style?
I think that we're trying to pride ourselves on kind of being able to play every style. Something that Ben and I had talked about when we were kind of forming the team after Worlds last year was that we really didn't want to feel like we were locked into one style. So for example, he had came from Pretty Prime, who was like an insanely good traditional mage player, and then a huge switch to Panda. We wanted to have Panda be able to play a little bit of that style while also like keeping his ADC identity going really aggro like you saw today on Hebo. I think we're still working on it. I think Max has played 8 gods in 10 games, something crazy like that. So like we're still working on it and forming our play style and what we think is good, but we're just trying to be really flexible and try to be open to everything.
In your pregame yesterday, you said that Fine has been playing really well and you think he'll do pretty well. I think that is an understatement so far. The dude's a beast, isn't he?
But by the end of the world, people will consider Fine unanimously best solo laner in the world. No doubt in my mind. He is. I had a lot of faith in him when we were picking him up, and I knew he was good from scrimming against him on CLG, but I never knew he would be this insane so quick.
If not best player in the world.
I mean, you've been telling us, Slaney won't shut up about it. Every time I pass by, he's like, Fineokay? I'm like, all right, man. But hey, congratulations on the win. 5 games, very well played. Rival, we'll catch you next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Brought to you by Skillshot, Hi-Res Studios, Titan Forge, INAP, Steel Series, Respawn.